This episode of the School Zone podcast is brought to you by School Spirit Vending, hassle-free year-round fundraising for your school. At School Spirit Vending, we do all the work. You cash the check.
Welcome to the School Zone podcast, your source for the most creative and innovative ways to school fundraise and impact your kids. Now, here's your host, Matt Miller.
Hey, School Zone podcast listeners. Matt coming at you from Stephenville, Texas. I am really excited to have with us today none other than Kara Lubin of the 100 Mile Club. Kara and I have just been chatting offline real quick before getting started, and man, the more I hear about what she does and her passion for it, I'm looking forward to you guys getting a chance to meet her as well. A little background: she was inspired by the '92 Summer Olympics. She was a special education teacher at the time, and used the universal dream of becoming a gold medalist to inspire her hand to motivate students. That year, the 100 Mile Club was born from a simple idea: run 100 miles and earn a gold medal. Her students ate it up, encouraged by a family friend, John Wooden. For those of you guys who don't know who John Wooden is, he is probably the greatest college basketball coach ever to live. Coached the UCLA Bruins to I don't know how many national championships along the way. Coached guys like Bill Walton as an example. I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as well as Wilt Chamberlain, if I remember right. I may be wrong. But Lubin developed the program and capitalized on its immediate effects: calmer, more focused, and motivated learners. And so anyway, Kara Lubin, excited to have you on. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Why don't you take a second just to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on, Matt. It's really a pleasure, and I'm excited to be here and to share our story with you. So I'm Kara. I'm the founder of the 100 Mile Club, and like Matt said, I was a teacher in an elementary school, just like a lot of you probably, and I had a very challenging group of kids. And I needed to give them a reason to show up to school every day. And I needed to teach them what success felt like because they hadn't experienced it anywhere else. So for me, it all cooked down to run 100 miles and earn a gold medal. And we started day one of school. I took a boombox out into the back of the school onto the field, and I turned on a mixtape that I had made. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run 100 miles this year, and we're going to start today. And they thought I was crazy. But we did our first mile, and when we went back into the classroom, I put the sticker on the wall on their chart, and we were off and running. It was great. I love it.
So talk to me a little bit about, you said that you were inspired by the Summer Olympics. Share a little bit more about that. Were you just watching it on TV like all of us that are old enough to have been, or did you know some people, or how did all that come about?
So it's a long story, but I'll make it short. We're a basketball family. I'm 5'10". I did not play basketball. My son plays. My father played, and he's a coach. But it skipped a generation with me. But I still love it. My great uncle, my grandfather's brother, was on the 1936 Olympic basketball team, which was the very first Olympic basketball team ever. They played in Berlin in front of Hitler, and they won a gold medal. The year 1992 was a really cool year for basketball in the Olympics, in that it was the first year that the United States was allowing professional players to actually be on the Olympic team. Oh, backing up a little bit. So we're Lithuanian. My grandfather's brother, my uncle Frank Lubin, was and is considered the father of Lithuanian basketball. So in 1936, he traveled from Berlin to Lithuania and introduced the sport to that country. Now, if you know anything about the 92 Olympics, the gold medal game was the United States and Lithuania. It was the year they wore all the tie-dye stuff, and it was just really a cool Olympic year. So I love the Olympics, not necessarily because of that. I love the journey. For me, I always judge an Olympics by how they light the torch. And that year they lit the torch in like the coolest way ever. An archer shot an arrow, a flaming arrow, like way up into this giant cauldron, and it lit, and it was just ridiculously cool. And so I was really sucked in to the sort of the triumph. I was, of course, watching the basketball team. There was a story there of Derek Redmond, who was a track and field athlete that had qualified and was running in the Olympics. And when he was running his qualifying race, he tore his hamstring in the 400-meter race, and his father came down out of the stands and walked him across the finish line. So for me, there was this cool juxtaposition of triumph and tragedy through that Olympic year. And it made me think about what the Olympics was really all about, which is about the journey, right? So for me, I wanted my kids to have that journey as well. So I came back just on fire. I'm like, you guys are going to get a gold medal. We're going to do this thing. It's going to be great. You're going to make it or you're not. But either way, you're going to learn a lot about yourself along the way. And that's what we do today. We serve over 500,000 kids a year. And that's the same journey those kids take, is exactly the same journey my kids took back in 1992.
So 92 was the very first dream team, right? That had
Yes.
Magic Johnson, Michael
Yes.
Jordan, Larry
Mm-hmm.
Bird, I believe, and, and a whole host of other guys. In fact, I used to collect sports cards, and I still have my dream team cards somewhere in a trunk somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
Because I coveted those because I loved watching all those games, and I
That was
remember.
that was it was a great game. It was really hard for me because I was secretly rooting for Lithuania just because my Uncle Frank was in the stands, and he was the same way. He's like, I don't know who to root for. Like, I'm an American, but I help these guys learn how to play basketball, and it's interesting, when you get to that level in sports, you just want to see a good game, and you're just rooting for everybody to do their best. And that's sort of how it is with 100 Mile Club, to this day. Everybody does their best and everybody strives to make their 100. And if they don't, that's okay, as long as they did their best. So that's how we sit with 100 Mile Club.
So talk a little bit more about your guys' relationship with John Wooden and how he kind of helped inspire you along the way as well.
Well, my father was a basketball coach, and he sent, there was a gentleman by the name of Swin Nader who played behind Bill Walton in 1970. I don't even remember. I'm terrible with dates, but the year Swin and Bill played together, and Swin played behind Bill on that team. But my father was his coach. My father taught Swin how to play basketball and was his junior college coach. Then when he went to UCLA, coach taught him, told him, you're probably never going to start, but you're going to have to make your practices your games. And so Swin did. And he was actually one of the only players drafted in the first round to the NBA who had never started a college game because of his hard work with Coach Wooden. And I spent time, with my father in the gym with these guys and with Coach. And, you grow up around that and you don't really value it till you get older.
Right.
And for me, that was very, very much the same thing with Coach and with all of those guys that I grew up with. I got to be about 25 and I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. This is kind of a cool way to think. And for me, it was almost like it had been sort of hidden in the meatloaf. Since I had been little, they had been sort of talking to me about this and how to be and how to act and what success is. And as long as you work hard and you're excited about what you're doing, you're going to be successful. This is all the stuff that Coach Wooden teaches his players. And it's what my family taught me. But you don't put all that together until you get older. So the pyramid of success was always around. I never read it or looked at it. It was just something hanging on my dad's wall. It was like hanging wherever. I just didn't pay attention to it, to be honest. But what I didn't realize was I had been paying attention to it all my life. Because when it clicked hard. And it made me realize that that's how I'd been thinking all along. As a matter of fact, in my high school yearbook, I wrote, how you have to write like what your goals are?
Right.
I wrote to be a successful woman. I didn't write anything else. It wasn't like I want to go to school. I just want to be successful, whatever that is. So I had already brought it into my world and didn't even know it. So when 100 Mile Club started to get really, really big, I went and paid Coach Wooden a visit at his home. And I said, Coach, 100 Mile Club's getting really big. I don't know what to do because, I talk about the pyramid of success all the time. Is that okay? And he said, honey, that's what I've been trying to get you to do your whole life. And he just and I cried. I was just bawling. I can't even, it's so emotional for me. And he said, will you stop crying and just get to it? And that was it. I gave him a gold medal, and to this day, you can, at UCLA, once he passed, his office, his study was kind of duplicated at UCLA behind some glass, so you can actually see his amazing study, which was just incredible. And there's a 100 Mile Club medal hanging there, because they just took everything and just duplicated it right into this display. So that makes me very proud that he hung it with pride in his home. And He's just someone I always ask myself, would coach be proud? What if I told coach about this? Would he be proud of me? That's how I make every decision. What would coach say if he were here? That's just how we think. We don't have a choice, really.
Well, so you're 24 some odd years into this by my calculations.
Yeah.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you'd be working with 500,000 kids a year, 1,700 schools in all 50 states and multiple countries around the world?
Did I? Yes and no, because when I start, I think as a special education teacher, by nature, you tend to try to make everything very inclusive. So for me, I never wanted to exclude anyone. So every decision I made when the 100 Mile Club was in my classroom only with 15, 20 kids a year, I always asked myself, could this be duplicated somewhere else? Is this something that we could scale? Is this something that if a kid outside this classroom tomorrow said, can I do this? I could say yes. Did I think it was going to grow? Kind of, but it wasn't. I didn't really think it would. It was just my intention to create something that could grow if it wanted to. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I functioned, just by nature of who I am and how I was raised and my profession, which is everybody should be able to do this anytime, no matter what. You could start tomorrow. Yes. I always want to be able to say yes. Not, oh my gosh, I have to go back and change something.
No, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So
that's way cool. That is
very
cool. Yeah. So,
nice.
So Kara, let's talk a little bit more specifically about, okay, so you get kids to run 100 miles. What does that do for the kids? What does that do for the schools? How does it all work? Because to be honest, until we started talking, I was not familiar with your program, aside from just seeing it in a few schools that I've been in.
Yeah, so the idea of running or walking 100 miles in a school year is something that you have to bring into your school and bring it into your school with the idea of everyone's going to do this and everyone's going to be successful. And here's how we're going to make it happen. So the 100-mile goal cooks down to about 3 miles a week if you do it from the beginning of the school year for a 10-month school, right? 10-month school year. And what you end up doing with this is you end up inadvertently building a team. And these kids come together every day to run or walk their miles and start to learn about each other and learn about what they're capable of, and they become physically stronger. And teachers, if they participate, which I always hope they do, are able to get out there and walk or run with their kids and really learn about them in a different setting. And I'll tell you, kids are honest, but they're really honest out on the track. So you're developing not only this idea of teaching kids to set goals, but you're also developing good relationships between the kids and their teachers in the school. So you're creating a community of healthy kids, and they don't even know they're exercising half the time. They're just out getting miles. They don't realize I just ran a mile or I just ran a 5K. I mean, they don't even realize it. You'll come in and you go, baby, you just ran a 5K. Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. And they'll go, oh, good. Now I have 75. That's just because they're so focused on the end game that 1 mile is just a drop in the bucket for them. They're like, I got to do 5. I got to do, how much time do I have? They'll say, I have to do 3 miles today, Miss Lubin, or today I have to do 2 miles and then I'll make my 50. So what we're teaching these kids to do, and what I saw in my classroom way back in the beginning, was I saw my kids pulling out a calendar and counting days and counting on their fingers how many miles they had to do each day to reach a certain milestone by a certain date. Because the incentives that we build in are really, really cool. And they're able to plan. And to teach a kid long and short-term planning is a skill that you have to live to learn. You can't be like, okay, we're going to do a lesson on goal setting. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. You have to do something to set those goals. So this idea of running and walking 100 miles a year brings those life skills and brings that life skill of goal setting to the forefront, where they come to school and they're like, okay, when's 100 Mile Club? Okay, I have 40 minutes. I have to do 2 miles. That's cool. That gives me 20 minutes per mile. I can probably do 3. you know?
Right.
So it's real. And it also brings to life, here's the thing, active kids do better in school. There has been a plethora of research now that's been done that now shows that kids who exercise in the morning, their brains are more awake, they're more focused, behaviors decrease. I mean, the benefits are innumerable.
So why are schools cutting out a lot of those activities?
That's a good question. Some schools are of the mindset that they need more time in the classroom in the chairs. I have to tell you, though, it's changing. I'm seeing it change in my world. But, once my schools become 100-mile schools, I'm sort of preaching to the choir, because they get it. But little by little, people are realizing that if you let kids out and let them play and let them exercise a little, they will come back more focused. Anytime that you invest in physical activity at your school, you will get back, multiple fold in instructional minutes, because you're not going to see as many behaviors. You're not going to see kids that are tired and listless and just done. You're going to see kids whose brains are awake again. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I get tired working at my desk, I get up and move around, which I do a lot. And I can't sit still for 6.5 hours. We expect our kids to do the same. And it's unreasonable. So have a lesson for 30 minutes, go out and run a lap or two and let it count toward 100-mile club. Come back in, start another subject. Once that subject is done, you find a good break period, stand up, move around a little bit, go do a lap if you want to, come back in and continue, and you will not see the behaviors that you would see if you were just asking these kids to sit all day. I can't sit like that. I don't know if you can, Matt.
No, I can't. I can't.
I can't.
I can't do any one thing for an extended period of time. I got to be changing it up.
Right.
And, it might take me a week to get that task done. I just can't sit down and for the next 5 hours knock it out.
Nobody works that way.
Right.
I mean, very few people, unless you're under, super pressure from college or whatever, and you have to do your finals week and you're studying, but still, even those kids get up and move around. It's important for our kids to be able to move their bodies throughout the school day. Most importantly, in the morning when they first come to school, even if it's 5 minutes, just get out and just do a couple laps and let it count for 100-mile club, come back in the room, take roll and get going. But it's interesting that some schools are still not understanding this idea that active kids do better. But I'm an optimist, and I believe that it's changing. I see a little change, and I thrive on that.
That's really cool. Kara, let's do this. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, I want you to get into more of the details of who an ideal school is for your program, and maybe share some success stories that you've seen over the years. We'll be right back with Kara Lubin.
Most teachers and administrators not only want their kids to have developed minds, but opportunities to develop creativity, positive human values, and a sense of personal excellence. But your budget doesn't allow for all of it. You need fundraising. At School Spirit Vending, we are helping a growing number of elementary schools fundraise the easy way, and we do all the work. We provide the sticker vending machine, free customized school logo stickers, licensed and non-licensed stickers like NFL and Disney, as well as tons of other fun stickers that are relevant to kids. The best part? School Spirit Vending is free. No upfront expenses for schools at all. A percentage of machine revenue goes directly to the school, PTA, or PTO each month. And did I say customized stickers? Our skilled graphics team can help custom design your school spirit stickers. You just tell us what you want. The only thing you do is provide us a busy hallway or commons area. Oh, and you'll have to find the time to cash a monthly check. It doesn't get any easier than that. 2,000 elementary schools can't be wrong. To see for yourself how easy year-round, hassle-free fundraising can be, go to schoolspiritvending.com/schoolzone. You've been listening to the School Zone podcast, your source for the most creative and innovative ways to school fundraise and impact your kids. Now, back to Matt.
All right, guys, we're back with none other than Kara Lubin, the founder of 100-Mile Club. Man, Kara, the more I listen to you, the more inspired I get. I got to be honest. It's so cool what you're
Thanks.
doing. And that's the exact reason why I started this show, is to give folks like you a bigger voice over time, because we're all so busy, and we're so busy just trying to get things done oftentimes that messages like yours and programs like yours oftentimes get overlooked. I mean, let's face it, you're in 1,700 schools, which is incredible, but there's over 100,000 schools in America. So that means there's 98 plus thousand who aren't working with 100-mile club yet. So we got a lot of work to do, right?
Right. I don't think I haven't done that math, let me tell you.
So very, very cool. So talk a little bit about who's an ideal school for you. Talk a little bit about how the program actually works. Is this something the school pays for? Is it a fundraiser? Are there pledges involved? I don't know enough about the ins and outs. So take a few minutes to share that.
Yeah. So the ideal school for this program is anybody who's ready to adopt a physical activity program that lasts the entire school year. It can be we serve every type of school. We serve public, private, urban, rural, rich, poor, and everything in between. We are able to modify this program to meet the needs of any student. As a matter of fact, we have schools that participate in the 100-mile club who have students who are non-ambulatory and non-verbal. These are kids who can barely sit up on their own. And they are doing the 100-mile club in a way that utilizes a lot of their physical goals and equates them to miles, and it works beautifully because it integrates them with the community and with other 100-mile club schools that are participating. So who's an ideal school for this? Anybody who wants it. Anybody who gets it and wants to do it, it's for them. The program itself, there's sort of a continuum of options for the program. It is not a fundraiser, although you can utilize it to fundraise if that's what you choose to do. But in and of itself, we have a program that is 100% free. So if a school wants to do the 100-mile club and they want to sign up and start tomorrow, they can go on our website at 100mileclub.com and literally explore the program options, sign up, and start the next day. That program is called our Certificate Path Program, and that program allows you to access the back end of our website, which is our Coaches Corner, our program guide, our message boards, and sort of a way to connect with other coaches and communicate with us. And it allows you to download our Challenge Accepted ID card, which is on the website. You can see it. And also our final certificate. So the Challenge Accepted ID card is a membership card, and you can download it for free. You can make copies and cut them up or whatever you want to do, or you can order them from us really cheaply. And then running all year, in our program guide, there are hints and tips and ways to run this program really without spending a dime. And then at the end of the year, our final certificate that the kids receive is also downloadable and printable, or you can order them through us really, really inexpensively, because we order literally, 750,000 of them a year. So we have them, and we don't spend a lot on those, and we don't charge a lot for them. So if the schools want to purchase them, if they're in the free program, they can do that as well. Then we have on the other end, this is the most expensive it'll ever get, is with our gold medal program. And this is the program that I started, 24 years ago. This is what I've been doing for 24 years. And the cost for this is $10 per student per year. And that includes everything. So it includes their Challenge Accepted ID card. It includes a beautiful t-shirt that they earn at mile 25. And on the back, it has a way for them to track their miles on their body so that they can connect with others. So if you're in the community and you see a kid in a shirt, you can actually say, how many miles do you have? And it's cute because they'll turn around and show you their back because it's all tracked on there. And then at 75 miles or 50 miles, they earn a gold pencil, which they love. 75 miles, they earn a wristband that says 75 miles, you're almost there. And then at 100 miles, we give our schools different ways to celebrate that 100th mile, because a lot of kids are going to have to, once they hit their 100th mile, they'll have to wait until the end of the school year to receive their gold medal in the gold medal program, because we are offering this program to everyone for the same amount of time. It allows kids that are faster or able to log more miles a chance to hit their 100 early, mark their shirt, and then keep adding to their shirt while helping others get there too. So that really brings in the community piece. But we give everybody the same amount of time to earn their miles. And then at the end of the year, we have a medal ceremony, just like the Olympics, where every child that finishes their 100 miles receives a gold medal at that ceremony. And then every child that participated receives a certificate that has their total miles on it. So it's really a beginning, middle, and an end program. So whatever you can do in that time period, that's your personal best. We have kids that are logging 600-700 miles a year. And then we have kids that are just, hoping and praying that they make their 100. They're doing their best and they're not fast, but they're going to get there. So for us, those two kids are exactly the same in their journey. It's just that one kid's going to have to run a little more to get that satisfaction because it's his personal best or her personal best versus someone else. I mean, I've had kids run 89 miles and they're thrilled because they broke their leg mid-year. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't think I was going to even make 89. They didn't earn a medal, but in their heart, it was like, I rocked it. So that's what we teach in the 100 Mile Club.
So do you guys then have like a coach or a mentor or something for, whoever it is that is implementing the program within the school, or do you have a series of videos or DVDs, or, I mean, how does all that work? It's got a lot of moving parts potentially depending on how it's implemented.
Yeah, it does and it doesn't. I mean, it's the simplest thing in the world. My son always says, Mom, it's just kids running in circles. So stop stressing out about it, And it's true. It's kids running in circles. So you have to really work hard to keep it simple because it is simple. Yes, on the back end of the website, we have about 125 page program guide that everybody has access to. And in that program guide, we provide everything from how to get started to how to do your medal ceremony and everything in between. So for us, that's the simplest form of support that we offer. The other thing that we offer is we offer periodic Google Hangout sessions, like sort of online hangouts where if they want to meet and talk with us about specific things, we have those sessions too. So they're very casual Google Hangouts where coaches come together and we really just talk about what's working and what's not, what they need help with. And then the other piece is on our team at the office, we have a team of 5 liaisons or program coordinators that will help a school anytime they need it. So the support there is enormous. And then the easiest thing for them to do to get inspired, to get ideas, is to visit our social media pages or the back end of our website. Our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our Twitter feed are all really inspirational, especially Instagram, because you just get lots of cool images of things that schools are doing to celebrate their kids or to create fun runs so the kids can earn their miles. So yeah, little by little, the support is more and more, and our teachers are really great about helping one another and connecting with one another within the community.
So what are maybe a couple of success stories that you can point to over the last number of years that, as far as behavioral or otherwise with specific kids or schools that you can kind of share with folks?
Yeah, so there's so many. I'm like thinking, God, should I just tell them the one I always tell her? This one I've really never told out loud before, but I used to have, it was before I left my special day class, before I became an itinerant specialist. I had a classroom. It was about 15 or 20 kids at the time, pretty severely involved kids, a lot of behavior kids that year. I had a lot of kids with behavior disorders that year, and I had two gentlemen in my classroom who were both very, very much, they were big kids. And they were also very, you have your alpha kids and you have your not alpha kids. You have your kids who are leaders and your kids who want to be the dominant one and your kids who, are just kind of cool hanging out. These two boys were equally big, equally spirited, and equally alpha. So I had a hard time sort of letting them negotiate their relationship. But when they came to my room, we started them in 100 Mile Club, and we started them on their journey to 100 miles. And it was so interesting watching them tick, because when they start to get mad at one another, you would see them and they would throw their chairs back and stand up, and their chest would puff out, and they'd run at each other, and then they would look over at me. It happened all the time. They would look at me and they go, can we go run? Can we go run? I said, yeah, sure. So my assistant would literally take them outside and they would run laps. It was almost like, we have to run now or we're going to fight. And for them, it worked. So they would come back in, their arms would be around each other. They're like, thank you so much. We needed that. So that type of thing was really one of the first times that I saw kids regulate their own behavior through running, which was, I got to get out of here and I got to do a lap. And of course I let them count it. I mean, these are kids that you couldn't fake that kind of anger to get more miles. They were just really involved kids. And for me, that's one of the success stories that I saw. Some of the other ones are just so powerful. I had a little girl early on in my program as well who came into my classroom, and she struggled academically, but she had a lot of fire in her. She was one of those kids who just wanted to be successful no matter what. And she worked every day to learn to read better, to learn to write better, to learn to be a good student. And in the 100 Mile Club, she sort of took all of that and brought it to its core, which is, I'm going to make something happen and I'm not going to let anything stop me. For her, it was the first time truly that she had been successful. Her name is Karina. She ended up going to high school, doing very well. She graduated from high school. And this is a student that we had in a special day class, meaning she had some pretty interesting learning disabilities at the time that she had to deal with and had to learn to handle and learn how to make part of her life. She ended up going to university. She received her degree in political science. And I just hired her as one of my program specialists. And when she goes out to a school, she says, the 100 Mile Club changed my life. It taught me to be extraordinary. It taught me that I am extraordinary and that I can do anything I set my mind to. And I said, Karina, I've been waiting for you to get done with school for so long so I can hire you. And I remember her as a 10-year-old. And I remember thinking, this kid's cool if we can get through all of this. If I can get through to her, I want to be her friend when she's older. She's 31 now. She just had her birthday on Monday, and she is on my team. And it's the coolest thing to be able to look back and see where she came from. And she's like, the 100 Mile Club changed my life, Miss Lubin. She still calls me Miss Lubin, which is the funniest thing because, she's like one of my employees now at the organization, but she still calls me Miss Lubin. She can't not, and I get it. So I just let her, Miss Lubin, this program changed my life. I want to help others do the same. So those kind of stories happen a lot. There's a great story that I tell about a little boy named Parker who he had 85 miles at the very end of the school year. And for him, he was not a child that loved to run. He wasn't a fast guy. He wasn't a kid that was logging hundreds and hundreds of miles. He was one of those, please let me make it guys. And he had 85 miles with a week left of school. And the medal ceremony was on Friday, and Monday morning he came in with 85 miles. And he was really interesting because he was okay with not receiving his medal that year. He was in it a little bit. I mean, he was just kind of accepting it. Like, it's okay. I don't need to finish. I'm fine with just my certificate. He would say things like that. But what his friends heard was, I need help. So they came to me and they said, Miss Lubin, we don't want you to worry about Parker. And I'm like, worry about what? I had no idea what was going on. And they said, we've got this. And they took Parker out on that track and they walked with him every step of those 15 miles for an entire week. So they did 3 miles a day every day for 5 days. Now, for some people, that's not a problem. For Parker, that was a huge, huge undertaking. He needed help, and he got it with his friends. So when he received that goal, he finished his last lap like 10 minutes before ceremony or something. It was ridiculous. And he ran in. We were at ceremony. We called his name. And when we called his name, the entire place just exploded with applause. And that's when I realized, when I learned that for some of us, success, that was a shared success. That was, at that point, his success was everyone's success because everybody wanted him to finish and everybody helped him finish. And it was really, really inspirational for me to see that happen, within this program. So these kids teach me as much as I teach them. Every year, I learn more from different kids and what their journey is. I mean, we had a kid 2 years ago who ran 1,153 miles in a single school year. And he did it by going to community events that we set up in, in different areas where you can go and run after school or on the weekends or do hikes. And he did all of them. And for him, he just wanted to make 1,000 miles. But when he hit his 1,000, he just realized he wasn't done. And he was this not fast kid. He was just kind of slog along. And kids would say, his name is Ryan. He said, is Ryan here? Is Ryan here? I want to run with Ryan because when I run with Ryan, I do really well. And that was neat to be able to experience with him. And he'll carry that with him the rest of his life. I ran 1,000 miles in a year, right? That's just cool.
So let me ask you this, Kara. You've been doing this for 24 years. When you and
Yep.
I were growing up, my guess is we're pretty close in age. When you and I were
Mm-hmm.
growing up, playing outside and being active and all that, I mean, my mom and dad would say, okay, during the summer or on the weekends, we'd have breakfast and they'd say, okay, be home at dark. And
They'll say bye.
yeah, and I'd be playing, baseball in the church parking lot a block away with my buddies all day long,
Right.
or running around and playing and all that. Society has obviously changed. How have you seen things change, and how much more important is what you do today with today's kids, where technology has kind of taken over their lives?
Yeah, so that's interesting that you brought that up. So in the 100 Mile Club, these kids have this goal, right? And the goal doesn't go away. It stays with them. So when they're on the weekends after school, they're still thinking about their goal. So for many of our communities, and what we really encourage our coaches to do, but it's an evolutionary thing. So if you're a new club, this is overwhelming. But if you're an evolved club, it's something that's just something you do. We encourage our clubs to set up community events, which means third Thursdays or every Thursday from 5:30 to 6:30, you can come to this place. Maybe it's a park, maybe it's an outdoor mall, maybe it's the school, but you can come there and we're going to be there as coaches so that you can get miles in. And we have in the community where I live and where this has been grown and where it's really highly developed, we have 17 events every week that kids can go to outside of school to earn miles. Most of those events are at parks. So they're kind of like a park meetup. It's like if you go to the park and I go to the park and I'm at the park and you see me, you can run laps where I tell you to go and I'll give you a credit slip. And then you can go play. So what we're seeing families come outside or come to a place so that they can get miles, and then they go play at the park, or then they go have dinner together. And not once do you see kids on their phones at these events. Not one, not at all. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of phones I've seen in kids' hands during 100 Mile Club events. They don't do it because they're happy and they're with their friends and they're running around. Here's the thing. If I have to give a kid a reason to go outside and play, I'm all for it, because at this point, it takes something to get them outside. And if that something is you're going to journey to your 100 miles at the park today from 5:30 to 6:30, and then you can go play, that's fine by me. I think Americans tend to be very goal oriented. I don't think we do things just for the sake of doing things, unfortunately. I don't think we just go out and hang out at the park together to spend time together without having a reason to be there. And I think that, I don't know if that's cultural or what, but what I've decided is if I need to give you a reason to show up at the park on Mondays, I'm just making this up, from 5:30 to 6:30, then we all come together and now we're talking. And we're visiting, and I see you every week. So now I can ask you about, your mom's surgery or your dog's training or whatever we've been talking about the week before. We can continue that conversation the following week. And now we've become friends. And for Americans and for society in general, getting out and connecting with others seems to be a real challenge. We're so connected online, right? But then we get out of our computers and we're like socially don't know what to do. This gives you something to talk about. It gives you a way to connect. It gives you a way to be together. It almost gives you an excuse to make new friends.
But you know what? In a lot of ways, we're not really connected. That's the
Not at all.
challenge. We think we have all these friends and all that, but the reality is the
Right.
skills that we all know are so valuable for being an active member of society,
Right.
and to be able to carry on conversations and develop relationships and all that. Once again, what was commonplace and just something that we did when we were growing up has to be focused on,
Yeah.
or else, this next generation and the generations to come will have lost all of that.
Right. And that's for us, the community event piece has been really interesting. We have about 20 miles from our office is this mountain. And it's not a mountain. It's just a really big hill, but everybody calls it a mountain. It's Mount Rubidoux in Riverside. And what it is, it has a path that goes about 2 miles up, another 2 miles down the other side. And what we've done, and what a lot of our volunteers have done, is they go up to the top of that mountain and they sit there. And we put it on our calendar. We have a calendar on our website that says, meet at the top of Mount Rubidoux and be there between 9:15 and 9:30, and we'll give you your credit slip for 3 miles. Now, what happens on that journey up to the top of that mountain? You see other people. You make friends because you're all walking up a pretty steep hill and it's not easy, but you're all there together. So it's almost like this journey to find this, whoever's at the top of the hill to give you your slip. So if I have to orchestrate ways for our kids to interact socially, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's what we do with 100 Mile Club, because they're going up the mountain, they're struggling, they have their water, they have their pack. A lot of them have bought hydration packs, which is the cutest thing, because they put on their hydration packs like they're going to run, 50 miles and they're going up 2 Mile Hill. And they go up to the top of that hill, and along the way, they've seen others in their 100 Mile Club shirts. I mean, you can't miss us. We've got our 100 Mile shirts on. Everybody's like, oh, you're in 100 Mile Club. What school do you go to? Oh, I go to Jefferson. What school do you go to? I go to Sierra Vista. Oh my gosh, how many miles do you have? I have 46. Oh my gosh, I'm almost at 80. These conversations are really natural. And then pretty soon they'll say, are you going to be here next week? I'll see you next week. And now you're accountable. So you have to show up next week because your friend is going to be there. And we have kids that have developed really great friendships outside of school by meeting at these community events, journeying to their 100 miles. And then those little credit slips that we give out go back to the school, and they hand it to them like a little ticket, and it's signed and it's official and it's a very big deal. And so that's just another sort of layer of who we are and what we do and how we help kids achieve, big goals. I have some kids that are like, I want to do 400 miles this year, and there's no way they can do that at school only. So they go to community events and they get miles.
So kind of off topic a little bit, but have you ever thought about doing this for adults?
We have a corporate program. So we have 3 companies right now that do the 100 Mile Club as part of their corporate wellness program. And it's super cool because they go to community events and see the kids and they're on their journey. We have several senior centers that walk with us. So these are senior citizens who are living, mostly independently, but they go to the senior center and do activities, and now they have the 100 Mile Club at the senior center. So they go walking together, and they have times that they meet and go and walk together. So, oh yeah, we have this for adults for sure. And then we have also, which is very interesting, there's a group of runners. It's not a huge group, but it is growing of runners that we call ultra marathoners. And ultra marathoners are runners who do anything over 26.2 miles. But really, once you do a 50 mile or a 100 mile, you're kind of like an ultra marathoner. And these guys run 100 miles in less than 24 hours. And so they run in our shirts too. They'll say, oh, I've made my 100, or they'll do a race to support us. They'll fundraise for us, and they'll wear our shirt during a 100-mile race, and they'll mark their progress throughout the day versus throughout the year. And it sounds crazy, but some of them do 100 miles in less than 16 hours. So they're running hard, and they'll wear our shirt, and they're part of the 100 Mile Club as well. Only they're doing 100 miles, some of them every weekend. They're running 100 miles. So yeah, we definitely do this for adults as well. We have a great adult piece for sure. And parents, all of our parents, we always encourage our parents to join with their kids, because I don't want you to show up to run group and stand there and watch your kid run. Like, get out there, let's do this. So sometimes it takes a little bit of encouraging to get the parents to sign up. But once they do, they're so glad they did. And I've heard so many stories of parents that are like, I have lost 50 pounds. I have a coach in Tennessee who lost 90 pounds last year walking. It wasn't her intent. She wanted to lose weight, but it wasn't like she was going to go out and, stop eating and whatever. She just started walking with her kids, and she dropped so much weight. And whatever works, a lot of these people turn into runners that sign up for us just to walk or run with their kids. They end up signing up for races and becoming pretty serious runners. So we run the gamut for sure.
Wow. So Kara Lubin, I appreciate your time, big time.
Thank you.
This has been awesome. Yeah, you're the longest interview we've done so far.
I'm sorry.
No, that's not a bad thing. I mean, I've been excited about to listen and let you share, because I think this is going to resonate with a lot of schools. And there's a lot of schools that I know we do business in that don't work with you guys yet, and they need to.
Yes, I like yet, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that's awesome. Are there any parting words that you would have for our audience before we kind of end things up?
Yeah. So really, if anybody, if this strikes a chord with you, if you're even the littlest bit of, inspired, and you want to reach out and contact us and get more information, you can always go to our website at 100mileclub.com and explore program options. But, you can always just pick up the phone and give us a call. Our phone number is on our website. It's easy to find. We are humans who answer the phone. We're never more than a phone call away. So if you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to start this tomorrow, if you need to pick up the phone and call us, we will walk you through everything. Our goal is just for you to do this with your kids because it is life-changing, truly.
Kara Lubin, thank you.
Thank you.
Excited about your program and getting the word out. You have an awesome rest of the week, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much, Matt. You're awesome. Take care, okay?
You too.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would be honored if you would leave a 5-star rating and review and hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice.
There are a lot of kids in this world just like me, except they don't have a way to get any clean drinking water. Clean Water Kids is the kid part of kidsacrosscultures.org, where we ask school kids to be our partner in raising awareness for water projects. Clean water changes kids, which changes schools and changes families. And when we help other kids get clean water, it changes us. Clean water changes everything. Raising money for water filters and other water projects is really easy. We have schools, organizations, and other groups all over who do it. Go to cleanwaterkids.com for more information and ideas on how you can partner with us. Although we focus on schools, you don't have to be a school to help us. You can tell your school, your team, your church, your club, or troop, or whatever you're a part of about cleanwaterkids.com and see how easy it is to help. I think every kid deserves clean water to drink. Don't you? I'm Travis, and I'm a Clean Water Kid.